Hey there, Bobby Kling from Your Online Genius here. If we haven't met yet, I'm a lawyer and an online entrepreneur, and I'm the guy behind Your Online Genius. I help other online entrepreneurs build and protect the businesses they want. And I focus on helping them protect it so that they can really focus on business building rather than worrying about the legal stuff. I wanted to jump in here today and talk about a shift in mindset that I've made recently and that I believe all online entrepreneurs, online marketers need to make. And that shift is that we need to stop thinking about things from a launch perspective. We need to quit with the launch model as what we think of as the most important part of building our business. And if we do, that can be successful. So earlier this year, and I have to be honest, this is not something that I came to lightly or that I came to quickly. Earlier this year, at the beginning of the year, I did a launch. I did a launch of my signature product, the Online Genius Template Library. I did a very traditional launch, a webinar launch where I, tried to bring cold traffic into my funnel. I did warm traffic as well. And I was doing all the things. I had people on board helping me with Facebook ads, handling that for me. I had a sales page with messaging that had been developed by a master copywriter. I did it all. I did all the things. And I also have a product that is fantastic. The price point is amazing. You get all of my legal templates for $1,000 basically. So you get that, and it is an offer that when people who know are presented with it, they automatically say, yeah, that's a no-brainer. But I was doing this traditional launch, and when I did it, I started with this concept of a launch. And, I had a price point in my mind about what I wanted to pay for leads. And again, if you've ever done a webinar launch and done Facebook ads, you probably have some notion of what you want to pay. Well, my price was way higher. I ended up having to spend, and the average cost was $25 a lead to get someone registered for my webinar. Now, when you think about the fact that the average attendance rate is below 50%, that means essentially I'm paying more than $50 per person who's signing up through a Facebook ad to get onto my webinar. That's expensive. I've got $1,000 product, so luckily it's not horribly expensive, not completely out of the realm of possibility, but it's expensive. And when I dealt with this, I was, kind of in a launch free fall is what a lot of people will call it, because I was freaking out. I didn't know what was going on. We had some ad sets that were, getting upwards of $30 and $40 leads. We shut those off, obviously, but we just couldn't find something that worked. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to chalk this up. I'm in the legal space. People don't want to listen to a legal webinar, et cetera. Now, what I want to talk to you about is I still made money on that launch. My earnings per lead were over $50. So I made more than 2 to 1 on my money on my Facebook ads. But again, not great numbers when you think about what we've come to expect. But what I found was my list converted pretty well. And so that was, a good thing. And that's kind of what made the launch, was my list converting and buying from me, not from Facebook ads. Well, again, when I did my debrief, I thought the big point here was that people don't want to go to a webinar about the legal stuff. And I think that's probably true. I think that still is part of my problem. But as I've talked to other friends in the space over the last, 3 months since then, I found it's a common theme. People are paying more and more to get leads to come into launches, whether it's a webinar, a challenge, a product launch formula, video series. And I'm talking about people who are dialed in. I'm talking about people who are in masterminds with me, who have teams of marketers, who have Facebook groups up the wazoo. And they are people who are still having problems getting leads into launches at a reasonable price. It has been a common theme in a lot of groups I'm in among these kind of 6 and approaching 7-figure entrepreneurs, that they are paying more than they want and more than they expect, and they can't fill up their launch, whatever launch mechanism they used. So this is something that I think I've been seeing more and more and more about. I don't know why that is 100%. I have an idea. I think the fact is that Facebook ads now are getting more expensive because the reality is there are more people competing for it. the people I'm talking about are largely competing for the same eyeballs. They're competing for thought leaders, for entrepreneurs, for business people building businesses, et cetera. And so that is a very competitive market. Now, there may be other markets where launches are still cheap and easy and you can do them. But a lot of these things, it's getting very expensive. And what I've come to realize is the problem is we are spending way too much time thinking about the launches and focusing our attention on launches. And before you want to burn me at the stake for suggesting we shouldn't do launches, that's not what I'm saying. People can make very good money doing launches. You, as an entrepreneur, as a marketer, can make a lot of money on a launch. But if you want to make a lot of money on a launch, it's not going to come from ads to cold traffic going into your launch. I'm going to tell you that. I'm going to put a stake in the ground and say that is the case. Now, could you make money on those people? Maybe. But that's not where you're going to build a business. The way you're ultimately going to build a business, whether you're doing a launch or anything else, any other kind of way of selling, is by bringing people in on an ongoing basis, nurturing the living crap out of them, and getting them to be people who love you, people who, like Abby, who commented about how, I'm the best and how amazing. Thank you for that, Abby. Again, you have to build that kind of relationship, engagement, following among people for whatever you do. If you help people create courses, they need to say, this is the only person I want to listen to about how to create courses. If you help people with Facebook ads, you need to be the only person they want to listen to about that, because you have built this relationship over time. And when you do that, when you then go to launch a product and you market to those people, and by the way, you probably don't even need Facebook ads. You can use Facebook ads to retarget your warm audience, but you can do it with your email list. You can do it with your social media. You can do it with those things. They are going to say, yes, I want it. And I learned that lesson because I just did a non-launch launch at the end of March because of things that were getting busy in my law firm. Long story now, I didn't have to have gone this route, but I went this route because I didn't think I had the time and resources to do a full launch. And so I just focused on the people that I had been nurturing. And guess what? I had more people sign up during my non-launch launch than in my January launch. I made a lot more money because I had zero cost. Literally, I did no Facebook ads. I had no pressure. I had no stress because I sent some emails over 3 days. That's all I had to do. But the only reason that happened was because I had been focusing on doing the right things day in and day out. And so the mindset shift we need to make is to start thinking about how we can build our businesses every single day. And your launch isn't about the launch. Your launch is about what you do between promotion periods, between the time that you're selling anything. If you look at the people who have these incredibly successful launches, like the big name entrepreneurs out there, the Amy Porterfields, the Marie Forleos, the James Wedmores, yes, they run ads during their launches. There's no doubt about that. But the place they make their money is by building a community, building a relationship, getting people into their world, and then selling those people during the launch. If you actually look at it, that is where people are making money today. And so we all as entrepreneurs need to shift that mindset. I have pretty much toyed with the idea, and I think I'm 100% there, that I'm not going to run ads to cold traffic during launches anymore. If I do launch, I don't even know what I'll call it in the future a launch. I think from now on, when I have my big signature product, the only people who are going to hear about it are my warm audience, nobody else. And let me be clear. When I say warm audience, I don't mean someone who's watched 3 seconds of one of these Facebook videos. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people on my email list, people who've liked my page, people in my groups, things like that, where they really have gotten a chance to get to know me. And if you are brave enough to make that shift, I think you're going to find good results, because you'll start thinking on a daily basis, okay, I need to nurture my list. I need to build engagement with people today, not wait 6 months until I'm going to sell a product. And when you make that shift, things will really shift for you and you will really start to get some great results. So make that mindset shift. Stop thinking about the launch. Start thinking about, how am I doing the everyday things right to build a community, to build rapport, to build engagement. If you do that, you'll be successful. Now, if you'd like to hear about my recent non-launch launch, the results, I go into a lot more detail, give the numbers, talk about a lot of thoughts about why it worked. Check it out. Check out my recent podcast episode. It's episode 74 of the Online Genius podcast. You can go to youronlinegenius.com/episode 74 and you'll find it. That's where you can get it. And if you like it, I'd love a comment. I'd love you to review, to give a review to the podcast and subscribe, because those are the kinds of things I talk about. I get people on to talk about this stuff as well. But my goal is to help entrepreneurs get through these things. And I take you along on my journey with you, or with me, I guess, so that you can get the same thing. But again, my big call to action to you is stop viewing your business from the perspective of I'm going to make money during the launches and start saying I'm going to make my money between the launches. If you make that mindset shift, I believe you will be much better off and have much better results. So I hope you do that. Hope you have a great weekend. For those of you celebrating, happy Easter and enjoy. And I'm going to try to be back here again next week with a couple of different live talking about some other marketing and legal stuff to help you as well. But until next time, I'll talk to you later and have a great day.